feels like everybody has like a little gaming for hope vignette nowadays. Every time I start a session, there's just a
I
little
trialed for
bit.
Hopium. I trialed for Hopium, and I play with Wizard and Glove Chesky, who is like Glove is the support and Wizard is the coach. I played with them in the stadium playtest.
So it's just far. Wait, you played Stadium as well?
Yeah,
Did everyone get into Stadium? Like I don't know like what the
yeah, like
condition
I
was
think like
to.
2,000 people got in.
That's
Like
heaps of
some
people.
like 2,000 to like 3,000 people got in.
Right, you're gonna have to forgive me. I can't remember your account name. Oh, maybe you're on it. No,
Uh,
it's
it,
I
that's
remember. No,
yeah,
it's
it's
the
the
yep.
venture.
No,
It's
no, I
fine.
remember. Yep, it's the yep.
It's the
Yeah,
venture.
yeah, there it is. Right, perfect.
Okay, so I'll say these are all from scrims. Both of them are. I didn't end up getting a good fire code. So just keep in mind that I can talk to everyone on my team, and everyone on their team is also going to be talking. And then also, I'm also the in-game lead on Venture for some reason. Dank isn't comfortable with it. I was the only one that was.
Okay, so you talk a lot during the games. You talk about like ults and
Yeah,
combos and
I
stuff.
mainly do a lot of the talking.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, if you want, I can talk about gameplay and like more team centric stuff if
Yeah,
you're interested in that. Because I mean,
yeah. I
if
mean,
you're
just
doing
like
IGL
it can
stuff.
be like a little break because I have a good bit of experience with being IGL because I was an off-tank main in Overwatch 1.
Okay.
That's why I play Venture. So yeah. So I do have a decent bit of experience with it from playing tank. So like mention it, but don't like go too in depth on it. You know?
Yeah, I won't get too like bogged down in like every single team fight, like what teammates could do differently.
Yeah.
But maybe I can talk about just like occasional like what would have been a
Yeah.
good approach for
Yeah, if
this
there's like
fight.
a small thing that I could have like called better for like a teammate to do, mention it. That's fine.
Yeah, it'll
But
probably
yeah,
it'll
I
probably
don't want
mostly
to
be
be like
like
the whole purpose.
where you're fighting more than anything else. It's probably more about
Yeah.
like where you're fighting or like something to do with the old game. But we'll see how it plays. See what actually comes of
Yeah.
it. When this damn scrim starts, there's so many skips at the beginning. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got. And do you find it's easy enough to play Venture pretty much everywhere in scrims? Like it's not a problem to like
I don't
vaguely one trick.
force it on every map because like I'm not gonna run out of adventure on Circuit Royale. You
Okay.
know,
Is that what you'll
like
play Pharah or May instead? Is that where the change
uh,
happens?
yeah, I tend to play May, but would prefer. Honestly, I just don't have a good poke DPS. I don't
I mean,
have one. The
I mean
best
you've
one I have
got
is May, but that's like
Pharah's good for it too. Like Pharah
I
and
don't
Circle
like
Rail's
Pharah
pretty.
for specifically like Circuit though because it's like just Widow and then like oof ouch owie, you know? I have to
Yeah,
play like really careful with Widow and then I kind of just end up playing Shield Breaker bot, you know?
yeah, I know what you're saying. I think like a lot of people like wind up playing Pharah on circuit just because everyone winds up playing these like super slow pokey mirrors anyway. So like there's lots of threat of you dying to the widow, but then there's always like a safe angle that you can get like decent value poking from as well. But I won't get too bogged down in whether or not you need to play it or not. Play Pharah on circuit though.
Yeah.
Here, I think your team comp is like pretty fast. Like you can push backline. So I think digging here
Yeah.
is like okay. You just want to make sure that like you can see something that you want to dig towards if you're going to go for the dig.
Yeah. I couldn't see the team comp just yet because it was still like grayed out, so I wanted to like check out the support line. I said that I was digging in, but this is the second game we've played together. I don't think people really got voices yet, and it was the first game I was like officially IGLing as well. So I think it's a little bit weird on that. I did call I was digging in, but I think they're looking at the Genji and Tracer that are poking them out as
Yeah.
well.
I think just for you specifically, like if you want to dig in and try and go for their backline, just try and make sure that you have like good vision of their backline and that you're not like losing any time in main. Like right here, you were standing up in main and you could just like keep kind of poking the Doomfist a little bit until the exchange actually happens, until you know that your team is ready to walk up. Because if you dig in, you have this like really limited window where it's like now you have to go. You're under the ground, you have to go forwards and go do something when you burrow back out into them. Otherwise, you're going to completely lose
Yeah.
your turn. If you dig in and then come back out and you've done nothing in the process, you're just going to miss a huge period of time. So it's cool on Venture to just like keep standing on the side and poking until you're like confident that things are ready to happen and that you're ready to push. So here now, like you dig and you come back and look like you just use both of your skills. And for these two
Yeah.
skills, you've done basically no damage at all. So you don't want to
Yeah.
rush it when you're going for this stuff because it's not that you only get one turn on Venture, but when you go for like your dig and drill combo, you're using your big turn for like a 10-second cycle. So make sure that there's value in that. Don't just rush it out. And then here, just playing main and playing for poke, but I think you gave the Doomfist power punch out of respect. That's probably not
I think
ideal.
someone else did, but it's fine.
It's
I
a
think I got a
team
shot at
effort.
it, but someone else gave it.
It's a team
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah. Everyone works together to get that Doom powered.
Yeah. Here you come back, and I've been getting a drill kill straight away. That's all good. And now, like, I think what your approach should be, it's like you have dig, you have drill, straight away you should be pushing it on the side. If you're like you have like 4 seconds away from your drill right now, you can do so much if you start pushing it on the side. Like one of the best things about this hero is that like if you don't need to dig in, if you can walk and drill first and then dig and then have another cycle of drilling, then you can do so much. Like if you don't just need to dig in. If you walk through main right now,
Okay, so
you go.
okay, I was gonna ask, like, so basically just like walk up to the side and take the off angle.
Pretty much, yeah.
There,
Like here,
what you were saying? Okay.
you've made
Yeah.
you've made a 5v4 already. So if you walk through the off angle right now, you can just pinch their backline super easily. Like you can see that they're here and they're walking backwards. If you try to walk face to face with their Doom, you're gonna fight the Doom face to face, but he's probably gonna get punched and he's gonna keep blocking you and slowing you down. And you're gonna have to commit the dig in order to get onto the backline. You're gonna have to dig and drill forward to get onto these players. But here, if you're gifted a 5v4 and an opportunity to just go behind, then you can drill from outside of the ground, dig later, and have a longer turn, do more. So
Yeah.
here
Okay.
you step up, you start fighting the tank, you're playing front to back, and then yeah, here look, in order for you to try and catch up and keep up, you've used both skills again. So now you've got to stay under the ground a little bit more if you want to have your dash to get out, or you're gonna pop back out of the ground with no skills, which means your damage combo is gonna be a little weaker. Here, you're fighting the Doom, and again, like it's all good that you're pressuring the Doom, you wind up killing the Doom. Your turn can just be better if you look for that pinch. It's looking for the moments like this, where this is like the perfect illustration of Venture style, where you do a little bit of something in main, you poke in main, so you're not just hiding AFK, but then if the opportunity to walk in on the flank presents itself, you want to take that, because if you can close the gap on their backline and get the drill off and boop them into your team, like the boop is so powerful. The fact that when you drill, you boop people into your team and you push them away from wherever they want to go, that is hugely powerful. If you can do that and still have your dig available rather than needing to use your dig for mobility, you will do so much on this character. Now here you're on point, touching point is all good. Chasing for kills off to the side, this is all right, but like once you'd made it, once you killed their tank, and I think you'd killed one of their supports, I want to say, it's kind of important that you try to like flip the cap. So like bodies on the point, Venture, because your right click, it is your right click, right? Your drill boops people really effectively. You can play for the point and then boot people away from it when they come into touch. You can keep getting the cap and you can play front to back with whoever is on the point. If you start pushing off the point and going around onto the side and looking for those flank kills, when you're now on the point block, you're already on the objective, then maybe you're going to miss some chances. People will get traded. You're not going to flip the cap. Your priority in a scene like this should be, okay, we've already won the fight. We've already made like I think it was like a 5v3, something like that at the time. If you've made a 5v3, flip the cap, make that touch hard, chase those kills afterwards.
Okay.
Here's all good. Maybe you win this duel, maybe you don't. You do. But yeah, the damage is sort of done where because you didn't flip the cap and you pushed off it, you had like a couple of seconds where things just didn't work out. It doesn't go well. But that's a general theme there is just if you're super up in a fight and you don't have the objective, play for the objective, play for flipping the cap. And because you can boot people off it, you can really help with making that happen faster too. Here you're digging for it to touch. This is very good. Oh, I thought you were going to C9 there. One thing you should do though is like you should try to play your life a lot more because again, thing about Venture, like you dig in and you can get this touch for free. Once you've gotten the touch, you should probably be trying to ping pong rather than play for a kill. Like here, you tried to kill Salty Dragon and you nearly got it done. It was a situation where you could have killed this Lucio if you didn't. I think you missed the right click damage at the end, but ultimately, like if you're going for a staggered touch towards the end like this, you should be trying to dig in, touch, drill back out. Come back in for your next cycle after people. Yeah, exactly. Play for other people touching as well. Because right now, like you didn't need to continue touching because your ram could start touching. And then once your ram touches, you come back in and you can fight with your skills again, and you have a much better chance of fighting. You're about to have your ult as well, but here, like it's just there's no attempt to ping pong with it. You see this a lot when tracers want to come and touch the point, and it's like they will triple blink onto the point or double blink onto the point and then recall. When really what they could have done is they could have walked a lot closer to the point, blinked once, blinked off, blinked on again at the last second, blinked off again, recalled later, and then just had a much longer turn of pinging and ponging. But here, there is no ping pong. It's just like, I'm on, I'm dead. And you want to avoid that because Venture's such a good hero for ping ponging, cap for ping ponging in fights. But yeah. It's a patience game more than anything else. I need to start playing Venture. I'm gonna be honest, I've so rarely watched Venture stuff. Like this hero looks so fun. I need to start playing Venture.
They are a
This
lot of
is,
fun. I love
yeah. And here, there's honestly not a lot to say about like this final fight here. Like, there's almost no chance for you to recontest at this point. Like, your whole team is already dead by the time you're on, so
Yeah.
it's super tough. But going into the next fight now, like we can look at like big old game situation because there's so much online now for both teams. So we'll see how your team chooses to approach it, I suppose, and we'll see whether it seems good.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be too worried about like ulting into their support ults or anything like that. I think like versus their comp, versus this ult situation, it's not like you should be scared to pull a tectonic shock versus a support ult because you should be happy to take that trade and you can get kills later on in the piece with it. You can get good trades. But a lot of like the most important things to do with alt gaming in these comps is it's really best, especially for a comp like yours, where you have like Kitsune Rush, Orbital Ray, Annihilation. It's really important that ults get pulled around the objective because it's so much better if you can use these ults around the point. So then the enemy team doesn't have a choice to run away from your ults and not trade the cap at the same time. So usually what you'll see happen is a team will play around here and get some strong positions towards the objective, but they won't start really looking to take the fight hard and to aggress until maybe 5 or 3 seconds until the unlock actually occurs because they don't want to waste all their skills and get forced into an ult exchange before the cap is unlocked because they want to be able to trade an ult for the cap at the very worst. But here, stepping up to the point is good. Just looking for your angle. Digging in underneath as well. This is totally fine now because your team is super close. Like, your Ram is right in front of you. Your whole team is right behind you. So I think digging in here is really not bad at all because you can get yourself a really good engagement and then you can drill back out as well. So you can get like a
Yeah.
big, I don't, what do you call it? It's like the opposite
I
of a
think
slam. What would you call that? Is it an unburrow? I have no idea. I always mess up.
I just call it exploding out, something like that.
Yeah, you can explode out on a lot
Or
of
just
people here, so there's value to
yeah.
be had. What were you saying?
I think I was gonna say like I think here I don't think I saved my Jordash to get out. I think I just kind of tried to just kill the Lucio, which probably isn't the best, but also the rest of the team isn't with them, so I don't think it's the absolute worst either.
Yeah, I think it's
And also, I don't think you could see the perk the last time you did it, but I also took the increased cooldowns from ult, so I'm decently safe as well as
yeah,
from
I
that because I
because you're
the
gonna
perk
ult
is
and
so
layer.
fun. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the big thing about going for a kill like this is you're targeting the Lucio, and the Lucio is the only person that
yeah,
can really mess you up and actually cause you to die. Like, if you targeted somebody else and you went all in on another character, I'd say, oh, there's a real reasonable chance that they're gonna like beat and you're gonna be stuck inside their team while they're beating. But if you're doing this to their Lucio, like, he can't beat. Like, he's gonna Ajax if you do it. So I think it's very reasonable to go for this right now. Your team just seems to be a bit like caught off guard by their tempo. Like, they're going quite quickly into you just as you're going quickly into them, and there's like no ult
yeah,
response. Like, I think your Kiri might have died with some skills up, and people are just falling over in the neutral. But I think the engagement here is quite good, just because stepped up to the point with good timing, saw a big group of players, and went for it. Maybe the only thing that could have been improved a little bit with it is, broadly speaking, like, it's best if Venture isn't playing front to back. Like, Venture always does their best work when they're playing from the side. But here,
yeah,
it's not like you have this great opportunity to push this side and pinch in main because there's like 3 players here right now. If you're pushing right side, it's like you are playing front to back, you know? So I think flipping over to this side
yeah,
and playing for point positions around here was totally reasonable. And that's cool. I think there's really not a lot to be said for it. If you had more setup time, going and creating like a double angle, like say the enemy team was dicking around back of
yeah,
main, or the timing was just a little different, or you were in control, playing the opposite side of your team, playing here while your ram is over here, would be like the ideal scenario, because then again, people step up into the choke and you can drill them without needing to dig into them. You can boot them into your team and create this double angle situation. But that's the realm of fantasy right now. You drilled out onto the Lucio, a couple of people are dead. Good to eco the fight at that point. They used a few ults, so that's all good, I'd say.
yeah. And I think we also got to trade out. I think at this point I called for some swaps because like we can't really farm rail here, right? Because
What was
like I
that,
feel like
say?
Soja isn't getting a lot of value because I feel like at this point I called some swaps, which is like one of the small things I want to mention. I feel like this is a good time for swaps because I feel like Soj can't farm rail,
Uh, I think
right? Yeah,
I think Surge is. really okay versus this comp. I think that it can be like a little bit awkward to like charge up your rail in the neutral, but if Arietta's hero pool is like hit scan centric, their options are pretty much just like Cassidy to try and flashbang the players
Yeah,
that are
I
going in on them.
suggested cast to just flash the Doom.
But that being said, it really works both ways because you might not be able to charge up rail on Surgeon quite as easily, but one thing that Surgeon can do is live. Like Surgeon can slide away from everything, especially as Surge starts to scale through the round. They get like double slide and they can go really, really far away. But like they can just slide away from all of the dives, and slide is so much better than combat roll for Cassidy. So I think Surge, it may feel like in these pre-fights it's a little bit more difficult to charge up your rail and such, but it's also a very, very good hero where like the ult is just OP, like significantly better than High Noon versus a Doomfist, and also just can survive a lot of the engagements. So it's definitely not a hero that does nothing by any means. So I don't think that it's really necessary to swap that out. But it's up to their feeling, because some hit scan players, they'll just play on feeling for a situation like this, and if they feel like they're getting no value on the Surgeon, and they're not dying a lot anyway, maybe they'll go to the Cassidy and go for a bit more risk reward, where you can walk up and you can duel these flankers a little bit better face to face. But if they're dying a lot, then going Cassidy is probably not going to help that much. Going something like Brig is probably like more common, like where teams play Juno Brig, because then your core is really strong in the sense that both supports have this reinforce. Like if for example, if Queen Bee went over to Brig, then anytime they try to dive, if they don't one-shot the Brig, you just have all this AoE healing coming through from the Brig, and the Juno can do like big sets of torpedoes on the team and stay alive at the same time. It's a little bit easier to heal the Juno in the middle of the fight as well. Like they get packs mid-fight while they're floating around, and there's just lots more AoE healing coming through. So I think like maybe if you wanted to change one thing, it would be like a support change to keep things healthy. But I don't think the comp is like an outrageous problem here. I think more than anything else, like in that previous fight, like if Queen Bee, I think I'm pretty sure they died with Suzu and TP. Like I'm like 80% sure. Like I think if they just used their skills at the start and then the ult trade started to happen, it would have been fine. It just is what it is. It's it's easy to feel like there's a comp problem, but often like you can solve most, not every situation without swapping heroes, but you can solve a lot of situations with the notion of play better. Here, where you're starting in main is okay. But again, you need to wind up in this situation where you're looking for an off angle. So here, if you were looking for an off angle and they were choking you close, it actually becomes impossible for you to find the off angle. If you know your team is going to walk through main here, you can step up on the left and you can come through here as your initial engagement space. Because like you find a tracer on this flank, you can just dig and then start setting up behind them right away. It's like they know where you're coming from, but you can dig in and then you can still explode out of the ground and drill back to your team in the middle. And then you've done a lot more on the side than you otherwise would have done in main. There's nothing less intimidating than a Venture just standing main all the time. Because if everyone is just looking at a Venture in main, they don't have to deal with anything. They don't have to deal with someone that's constantly working their way through on the flank and being an annoyance. Their Tracer on the side has to come and fight you. And if you dig under the ground, she can't even fight you anymore. She just has to either go to your backline or chase you and try and kill you out of your burrow. So either way, I think I'm just trying to incorporate this habit of like drifting off to the side a little bit more from the start. It's really helpful, because then you'll probably find you have a little bit more impact in the neutral. All right, and now here, ult trade in main. It's kind of hard to keep pushing. Your Sojourn's been killed, so maybe you just want to play slow and wait a little bit, and then re-push. So it feels like everyone's peeling back. You are trying to just wait. And like here, one of these moments, like you could pull the ult like at any given moment now. Your Cassidy is still dead, but they are committing ults towards your spawn. You're kind of juking it out with them. You could ult at some point in this. They keep using skills. Like I think their Doom has been like punching in. Their Lucio's been really, really close this whole time. Their Tracer was blinking a bunch. I think this Genji's in the process of dashing. Yeah. So like if you see lots of skills being exchanged towards your spawn, it may be a 4v5, but you can try to turn the fight with your ult at any point. Digging in again, going for another burrow. Again, like you keep getting players low. Like if you're doing that, it's cool to pull the ult, but now it looks like you're gonna win it either way, just through the neutral. So that's okay. But yeah, the general stylistic change that you could have made, it's a lot about like your pre-fight position, where your initial engagement comes from. Feels like the way that you use the dig and exploding out from the ground and such is all right. And It's more about like where are you starting from? Are you going to apply pressure before the fight, or are you going to have that opportunity handed into your lap mid fight?
Okay. Yeah.
Here, this is like same concept, very much the same concept, where now you're in control and you're starting forward in main. The best thing about Venture is that they are so annoying, like so annoying.
Yeah.
You need to be an annoyance. So like between fights, you can set up forward and you can hide and you can go for all of this super
Yeah.
risky stuff where you can just look for like little one bops on players. Like you could be sitting back here, and if they rotate through, you pop in here onto a backliner, and suddenly their Lucio, who's just kind of wandering off to the side, is getting one tapped. And if they find you, the level of consequence is so low because they find you. You drill away, you dig under the ground, you're back in your team, and all of your cooldowns are pretty much back up again. You might not have your dig again, but if you don't have your dig, then you can pull your ult inside your team when the clash happens. Then Orbital Ray comes out, and you can drill back into people and fight aggressively with your ult. You know, there's lots of options for you, but starting pre-fight somewhere back here, it's just again, it's the antithesis of annoyance. You really need to be an irritant all the time. You need to be something where they're thinking, is there a Venture behind us right now? Where's the Venture hiding? Is the Venture hiding? And if they're not thinking that, then you're just solo killing people. You're just finding people that are wandering around. Right now, you could just be walking off to the side. Moira has been drilled completely out of the fight. You are now 1v1ing a Moira, and you win that trade. They peel back for you. You dig under the ground, you run away, or you kill the Moira. Either way, there's lots of opportunity for you, but here, just two front to back. You don't need to be a front to back player on this character because this character is
Yeah. I also
really.
think I sat on my ult like way too much because I have my second perk up without using an ult
Oh,
once.
jeez, you've already got your second perk. That's really quick. It feels like. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. I mean, I can just kind of farm damage stats like with that one.
Either way, I mean, you pulled it. I mean, you only held the ult for like. It really only felt like two fights, to be honest. Like the first fight, it felt really reasonable to Econ, and the second, again, like you won the fight with your team. So like, it's really not the end of the world that you held your ult, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a lot about like your pre-fight positions here, where I feel like you're leaning too much in towards being a front to back player when Venture is the opposite of front to back. Here, you pull the ult with the rush. Here, like maybe this is like a little bit unnecessary. Like it feels bad to say that you should keep holding your ult.
Yeah.
And maybe that's.
No, I get what
yeah.
it's saying because I feel like we might have been able to win the fight with just the rush, especially since they have no ults.
Yeah, it's like as soon as you've
that.
seen this Genji use dash off to the side and use deflect, like this Genji is well and truly a dead man. You know, like there's just no escape for him anymore.
Yeah.
He's used both of his skills and you're right on top of him. It's like you don't need to pull your ult to finish the kill. All you need to do is melee him. All you need to do is left click him,
And the
melee him,
ram did.
and something is gonna kill him, right? Like you've witnessed all of his skills be used already. So if you want to pull your ult after the fact, like it should probably be in response to you seeing something start to slip away from your team. They use an ult and you use an ult in response. You don't need to take the first tempo because you've already witnessed them take the first tempo and commit suicide in the process. But instead your team uses two ults for 0, and that's like not super ideal just because like from a macro standpoint, you're gifted a free 5v4 that probably didn't need to ult at all. But or like you can afford to ult a little bit more reactively.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we have one more fight, and their touch is super pressured. When their touch is super pressured, the stuff that I was saying about how Venture can hide forward becomes even more valuable. Because when they're rushing past you, you just get the most free engagements ever to really bother people and pull people off objective.
Yeah, I think the problem that like I was having like here, I tend to do it a lot more. I was just like I was thinking a lot more about like fight planning, so I didn't really think about what I should be like doing a lot better, you know? It's like in that like weird kind of like way of like my mind was drawn away from doing it. I do it a lot more though, and I think I'm gonna take a good amount of off angles later, or I know at least take one that got like a lot of value. But yeah, and I do usually take it more, but I think I was just like really distracted by fight planning. So that'll hopefully be something that gets a little bit better as I play more, you know?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's really easy to sort of drift into the trap. And I mean, like pro players will do this when they have like the ult check phase or something like that. They're holding the scoreboard up and they're just thinking, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And they're holding tab and they're talking. But because they're doing that, because they're doing like big picture planning or they're trying to alt check or whatever it may be, they're forgetting about their own like individual carry performance. And that's something that's just, you know, you have to improve upon the skill a little bit. You have to, I suppose, just recognize that there's something that needs to be fixed there. And often this is why, like, you know, this is why main supports do the alt check and stuff, is because between fights, main supports never do anything. They don't have to set
Kiri
up.
was ult tracking, but I was fight planning.
Yeah, but just try to be mindful of it and make sure that, you know, you're not getting stuck at the furthest back block from the beginning, because it's always really valuable for you to set up forward, especially on Venture. Like maybe on a hero like Pharah, you can get away a little bit more, or Pharah May, you can get away a bit more with playing further back from the start, because all you really need to do is like poke from slightly off to the side of main. But the same just can't be said for Venture, because Venture's a hero that really carries by setting up forward all the time. All right. So here, I mean, the feedback is, it's entirely the same, really. Like their touch could have been made really difficult, but it wasn't. Also, just from a team perspective, they have to touch. They feel like an incredibly large amount of pressure to touch. As soon as the overtime wick starts to tick and the fight really starts to break down, it's a good opportunity to pull something like the orbital ray. Like here.
Yeah, I called for it, but I think I accidentally called Kitsune because I was holding tab and I was just like quickly looking at it and I mixed up the supports.
Yeah.
But I did call for it to be used, but we didn't end up using it.
I think here your Juno has had their ankles snapped. Like the Tracer fought them on the right hand side, and then they pull back into main, and everyone comes and dives them. Like they're under heaps of pressure right now, and this is something that would be like partially resolved by you playing forward and off to the side, because like their Tracer's engagement was super free. Like I think their Tracer just pulled up on the side and came here completely uncontested. So if you were like playing forward and holding off to the side, then their Tracer would have been blocked. And then the other thing is just that generally, like they have Doom, Tracer, Genji, Lucian, Moira. They have about as aggressive of a dive comp as possible. You should really look to play something like Brig into a comp like this, because there's so much pressure on your squishy supports. Juno is really, really squishy. Juno can't TP away. If Kiri is playing off to the side, gets forced, Kiri can TP back. But with Juno plays off to the side, can't just TP back, has to fly back, float back in front of everybody. Juno is going to die. So playing a Brig, just so that then you can give that a little bit more of a pocket and you can mark these flankers on the side a little bit more, is good. But not to get too hammed up in the comp, because again, like you personally can contribute a lot to blocking that Tracer by being forward, by holding a side. Because then if their Tracer tries to push through the side that you're controlling, you're dueling her, making her touch impossible. And if there is no Tracer there, then you're just trading their backline right away. So there's stuff that you can do implicitly to make it easier for your Juno just by carrying harder on your role.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. We're down 0-2, but I mean it feels like a very winnable matchup, I'd say. Their Tracer is Tracer is dropping a nuke. The Tracer has so many kills, but this is the nature of playing a comp like this, where you have squishy backline and no Brig. It's a playground for the Tracer. Playing Kiri Juno, it's just something where there is no hero to contest a Tracer. There's not even the Lucio to go and fight the side and get like these kind of easy heals. It's just two targets that are like quite easy for a Tracer to engage upon. It's very dangerous, and if the Tracer's left unchecked, if you leave the sides open a little bit and neither support changes, it'll be more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. Now here on this next push, it's going to be very much the same, where it would be nice if you could try to push in towards the side, but looking at this right now, like their whole enemy team is playing up top. You don't need to go and flank around and clash with them head to head. If they're going to give you a free cap like this and you have an orbital ray, this is an ideal situation where you don't actually need to do something too aggressive. If you have the ability to get bodies on point and you have ray, just like it was in the last fight, you can just kind of bonker up towards the point and start playing for the cap. And then once they try to engage onto you, you pull the ray and you fight the players that are pushing into you. And then either you're going to get the cap, or if they don't push into you, you get the cap for free. If they do push into you, then you have an easy queue to use the ray and to fight with that. So here, coming towards the point side, dueling for that is good. The second you're in this situation right now, the second the Genji has used his dash, already you can start to use the ray. As soon as they commit skills into your team to try and fight around the point, a ray can be pulled, an ult can be used, because you can just pull them in towards the objective, use the ult on the objective, and you are going to leverage the cap. The flashpoint doesn't unlock for 6 more seconds, but you use the ray, which means nobody will get traded and their Genji will die, and then you take it from there. So starting for you, all good. take down their tracer as well. Like you're just fighting for the point. But as soon as you see these skill exchanges, as soon as these skills start to be used, like you see the Moira just use fade, the Genji use dash, the Doomfist has used punch. As soon as all these ults are being used and we're on the point, our team is actually on the objective. Pulling the Ray is easy as asking for an ult to be used, whether it's a Ray, a Rush, a Ram ult, whatever it may be. Ram ult is the most difficult of all of these to micro because Ram actually needs to be close to someone in order to pull it. But
Yeah.
when you have bodies on the objective, for sure, easy Q, easy Q. Fight around point, fight on point, use the ult on point. If there's a rush on the point, if there's a Ray walking across the point, you're going to get the kills, you're going to get the cap.
Yeah. Okay.
Now the Ray gets pulled. It was patient, but I mean, it has come out, and now you're scrapping in the Ray, and you just win this exchange. You see, they have to come in to stop you from capping. They feel the need to ult into it, but it's really hard to ult into a Ray. So you get the cap.
Yeah.
Moira dies a little staggered, all good. Now you have ult again as well, so you can set up for same general thing where you play forward, you go for a turn in their backline. If you're not forced out of their backline, you come back to your team, pull the ult. Starting front to back is okay, but there's no reason to not go for chances on Venture. The only threat to you now is the fact that they have a Cassidy. So if the Cassidy or the Doom, if you get counterpunched or you get flashbanged, your turn will be messed up. So there's an element of risk to setting up forward. Maybe once they swap Cassidy, you become a little bit more risk averse, but you shouldn't start out as the most passive player, and you should take these chances until you're punished for them at least. So you should always be looking to start forward. Right here, like you have Cassidy, you have Ram. Setting up here and fighting for here is always good. Starting at the furthest back block, not just for you, but for your whole team, is never a good thing. You want their retake to feel difficult, and this is the tightest choke that you can choke the enemy team in. You can choke them around here, you can choke them around here. You can just deny the enemy team so much space, and you can take away this concept that they can use ults on the point if you just fight them forward a little bit. So if you soft hold here forward and you're holding in here, then they push into you and you drill them into your team or whatever it may be, or you're hiding in here for the same concept. It's just better than starting at the back of the point. If you start down here, then look at all this space that they get to walk into for free. And then they can take multiple angles. They can play down here and they can play down here and someone can flank over here. And it's just more pressure for your team that you shouldn't have to deal with because you have the option to just play further forward and set up further forward.
Okay. Yeah.
Now here you have ult. You're playing pretty front to back. I think it's really difficult to get your flank off on this left-hand side. If you want to flank on Venture on this point, you have to go all the way around. You have to go super wide.
Yeah.
Controlling this left side right now is really low value for you because you can't creep into anywhere at all. If you're going to play, like super front to back, but just off to the side a little bit, and you're not going to flank at the start of a fight, I think this right-hand side is better for you because here you can creep in on the right. If the right side is open, you can just walk forward a couple of steps and then bang, you're right here on their back line. Whereas if you're over here on the left, there's actually not so much you can do because it's really hard to creep forward from here. You're not going to creep all the way around. Like it's an odyssey. So I think controlling the right side is a little better if you want to play front to back gaming like this and you don't want to flank it all at the beginning, just because the left side is lower value. Because you started on the left, you have to commit your drill early. Looks like you've mind controlled their tracer off the map, so that works. And then here, this is nice. Oh my god, this is very nice. So yeah, you see them all grouped up on the right. You see some skills exchanged. They flash you in main, and straight away, like you pull the ult, you fight, all good. And at least you didn't see the writing on the wall. But it's a good ult turn at least.
Yeah, I feel like we should have like stayed up more, but our
Oh.
Ram is doesn't play a lot of Ram. They're a diva main, so yeah, I think they're not very they're not the best on Ram. They self-admittedly aren't. So I feel like it might be a little bit of the discomfort with Ram as to why we're playing so like far back, maybe.
I think it's just something where anyone can fix these problems because it's easy to say it's the tank's fault that the tank doesn't want to hold forward, and it's true that if the tank says I would like to hold forward, everyone will hold forward, but ultimately anyone can say I want to hold forward and it will happen. If you
Yeah.
say, I would
Okay.
like to set up forward, I want to play in here, then your team is going to play around that. They're going to take the information that you're giving and they're going to adjust their position accordingly. But because everyone is happy to do this, everyone is happy with this default back of main position, this is just where your team winds up by default.
Yeah.
But you should really be looking, it's not that you have to take 2 fights, right? Like that's not really how it works. There's one fight that happens and then the point is going to get flipped. But you should look to hold them in the furthest forward position
Yeah.
that you're not just going to lose
'Cause
the cap. So that's like
I do like holding them here and then sitting on like the high ground to like the right as like my little like off
right
angle,
up here.
making them like turn their head like a little bit while they're like the fight's main there. It's like it's really hard to get like an off angle in this. And like if we're holding like that specific door, like where the Moira and Doom are.
Yeah, yeah. It's just if you want to do the off angle and pull them in, try to hide as your first step because hiding
Uh
is really valuable on venture. And then holding an angle off to the side, like when you're playing the front to back down here, like using the cover on the right and poking and holding right and walking forward if nobody's using it and poking and you can drill into their back line. Your ideal situation is always that you can use your drill without needing to dig in for it, which is why hiding is valuable because you want to pull them into the point that you can drill onto players without needing to use dig for it. So then you can use the dig to escape or you can use the dig to keep playing your life. So anytime you have the opportunity to play off to the side and go for that, that's good. I think venture, like you were saying, you like to use these high grounds. I'm not sure if you were saying you want to use this one or this one, but
yeah.
the high
It
ground,
was the left one.
I think the high grounds are not bad because you can poke from there and you can do that same thing. You can drop onto players, you can drill onto them as well. The only thing about the high grounds is I feel it's, in a way, it's a little bit easier to scout out. Like people can see you up there the second they walk. If you're sitting in a corner, hiding and not moving and waiting, for sure you're going to get that engagement. If you're up on the high ground and you're poking, they're not going to walk into you and give you that drill. You're not going to get the perfect engagement that you want because they're going to look at you and they're going to poke you out. And you're not like a Genji where you have this freedom to like poke and drop back and come back up and drop and come back. You're really,
Yeah.
if you're up on the high ground, it means you use your drill to get there and then you had to wait. So if you get dropped off the high ground, you lose that turn, you lose that element of surprise, and really your only option from there is to drill back up, which means that you have no skills and you can't engage on them anymore, or to just run away. So I think high grounds and such, they're better controlled on heroes that can utilize that, like that can easily go up and down and up and down. It's like Genji or Pharah or something like that. All right, next turn. Here again, same old concept. Starting from the back means that their touch is as easy as it could be. If you hold forward, you're going to get a better contest. But it looks like, you've just got a bunch of ults to dump into this one. Like you've got a rush on the point, you've got a high noon on the point. Everyone is just walking into the meat grinder. So I'd have to imagine this one is done and dusted. Onwards and upwards. I think this next point is like one of the more awkward ones. Oh, no, not this one. I thought it was... This one's called Ruins, really? I really thought that this one would be called Ruins, but...
Yeah, this is, I think, honestly, weirdly, I think that one I like on Venture.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I feel
thought...
like that there are some good off angles there.
I thought this one would be
I think.
hard because it's open. Like, I think the most difficult
Yeah.
space for Venture overall, the more open a point gets, the longer the angles become, the harder it gets. And here, because there's always 2 levels, like there's always verticality that they can play on, I would have thought that it makes it like as awkward as it can be for you.
Yeah,
would
but I
have
feel
thought-
like we just like kind of controlled the high ground, and then if they try and contest us, it's so like small that
That's
I
true.
get like the value from
Yeah,
it.
you get nice alt and
That
drill
was
angles
my
here. And you can boot people off the high ground as well. So I guess it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
yeah.
Oh, this is a
It's
quarter.
just unfortunate.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, I don't think you can dig if you are stuck. I don't think there's enough time for it.
Yeah, maybe you have to like preempt it. It's like the equivalent of
Yeah.
like brig blocking a pulse sort of situation.
Yeah.
How much you get some overhealth from drilling people, right? How much do you get from that?
From like which part of it?
Like, do you get overhealth from right clicking people, or does it come from like coming out of the ground? I don't know. Not even too
Right
sure.
click, yeah. Okay, so you get it for dealing damage with right click and dealing damage with your burrow, and also I took the perk that gives it to me on melee. Something was happening in real life here. That's why I'm kind of like zoned out right now. That's a little bit on my fault.
That's alright. We can skip that.
It's a
part.
little
We can skip that
unfortunate,
part.
but yeah.
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 I think here, like, I don't want to give you the same feedback over and over again, but it's the same sort of
Just,
situation where it's
go
like,
to
look,
the
your
right
engagement,
on
yeah,
the off
literally,
angle.
just come from here and step up on the right, and then straight away, like, you've got yourself a flanking engagement where if you're not marked, they'll
Yeah, I
deal
think
with you.
the
If
problem
you
with it for me though is that like they're like positioning like the cast is there, so I can like, and like they're like up, the cast is so far back that they can kind of like cut me off, so I can't really shoot the
Alternative.
supports from it.
Yeah, alternative here because
Maybe
like
the
this
left
is
as
a yeah
well.
exactly like this is a super long flank where the cast gets like a really easy angle to mark you out. You don't just get to like pop in with good cover. So like here, I'd say this is probably like one of the weaker spots for Venture to come, just because you come in on an off angle, but you are gonna have to burrow. You are gonna have to burrow to get in. So
Yeah,
it's really not ideal, to be perfectly honest. It's okay for like a bigger clash where you know that your team is gonna push in with some of their ults. Like if your ram is gonna go really deep, it can be okay. But overall, like it's a bit too easy to mark this out. But if you came in through here, like your team is main right now. If you came in through here, again, like you've kind of snuck your way in towards where their backline is. This is like a super common position. Like if teams are holding back on point, a hit scan might come here. But if they're holding forward, this is great space for you to come, because again, all you want to do is use your legs to get as close to their backline as possible, so then you don't have to burrow under the ground to do it, so that you don't have to drill to do it. And right here, this is the ideal angle, to be honest, because here the hits can get to a long angle on you and you're not close to the backline, but here you 100% are close to the backline, so it's a good starting point. And then if they were
yeah.
playing back on point a little more, then there'd be more merit to the
Then the
side.
other one,
Yeah, exactly, because
or
then
maybe even go like far left and use like that wall that like is blocking it off. Maybe even
going like all the way.
like yeah,
Yeah, I think to be honest, like it's not so much about getting caught up in is this the perfect thing. It's about just trying it, and through not necessarily trial and error, but trying to implement it as much as possible and seeing like when you need to make that
yeah,
balance, because you don't need to flank every single fight all the time. It is okay to play front to back, but I think for you the general issue feels like there's just not enough going to the side
I'm not
trying to
doing
play
that.
off. Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like I would have done it more. I feel like I just kind of stuck around with the team because they were on Doom. I wanted to disrupt the Doom's dives with my drill. That was like my main idea for why I'm playing so much like this.
I get what you're saying.
And like it's like a little harder to get value from going on to like Moira and Lucio, because I can get like booped away by Lucio and just fade by Moira. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like these heroes can like mark you out pretty well, or like they can avoid your engagement pretty well. But ultimately, there's still like now there's a Cassidy to catch, and even heroes like Lucio, like you can still be tremendously disruptive to them if you boop them forward. Like just as the Lucio can boop you backwards, like you can boop their Lucio forwards, and you'll wind up in a
Yeah.
similar position where it's like, oh look, you've just booped their Lucio into your ram, and now you have a really good opportunity. Here on this retake, even like you can literally just flank around through here, right? Your team is retaking through this choke. You can just take a couple of steps off to the left, and then bang, you've got yourself a decent engagement right here and now. You get marked over on the side, you drill under the ground, you're under the ground, you burrow out, you're inside everyone. You get a good engagement, and you peeled someone off the main choke. So already here, like look, you're fighting the Doom right now. You could just come off to the side, and you could get it done either way. Here as well, like you're trying to like turn and boot the Doom back in and disrupt him. But really, like if the Doom punches past you and you have a free engagement on their backline right now, like you still have all of your skills,
Yeah,
you can
just
still,
engage on
yeah,
that
just,
back line.
I'm not saying always ignore the Doom, but like shooting tank in Overwatch is sometimes a little bit baity. And Venture is not a good
Yeah.
tank shooting character, right? Venture is a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good
yeah.
character for one bopping squishies and for making life hell squishy characters. So don't turn around and try and deal with the Doom when you have the option to go and trade their whole backline out, because you're good for that. You're so good for that. But here, like you had this great engagement opportunity onto their backline, and you let it slip. And look, eventually it does seem to be working out, right? Like you're getting the kills, but it's just a mindset thing where you want to be thinking like the best targets for me, it's always
Yeah,
going to be the
do best
cast, the
more.
Lucio, and just try and play for what is your hardest carry opportunity, which is killing these squishy targets, making these squishy targets life hell. You got
Okay.
nothing but miserable Lucio players in the lobby, really. And now here, like, I think this is where flanking is not good, because right now, like, this space on the map, this high ground is so valuable for you to control. Like, this is where
Yeah.
if you set up forward and hide, you will find less value than just by playing up on this high ground and controlling it. Because if they don't mark you on the high ground, you get that condition anyway. If they don't try to take top off you, you're going to get that angle where you can drill onto them somehow. Through top, you'll
Yeah,
find
I
backliners in main. You'll get good poke through main. And if they do come top, great engagement angle for you, right? Like huge drill where nothing is required, great old angles. So this, of all points, you have a choke like this, it's okay to hold it. You don't have to hold forward.
yeah. Yeah, I was like really stressing to keep this high ground. The high ground on this point is so strong.
Yeah.
It's so strong.
And then all you need is just to make sure that like if they go and try to touch the point with the Mauga, that you're ready to react to that, ready to start matching ults and fighting them up in main. If they come top, it's all good to fight them head to head, but otherwise, yeah, just make sure that you're controlling the high ground. One thing I will say is, like, look how far back your team is getting on the high ground. Like, they were all back of main and they were really far. Their Tracer is coming up all by her lonesome. Like, this Tracer is completely alone and your whole team is running away from this. You don't need to do that. You're running away from this too. Like, if you have a support pocket, if their team is dead, fight their Tracer. If their Tracer's coming up here, make her use her blinks. Try to force her recall with your drill. Like, you can take a turn before the fight because their Tracer is taking a turn before the fight. And you're the one that has a healer to pocket you. You have a whole team with you. But instead, like, you're letting them walk up here so bravely and so brazenly. But really, like, your whole team was alive. Your whole team had this high ground position. It's good to hold the high ground position, but there's just this general theme where it's like, look, everyone loves to play back of main. Everyone loves to play it so safe.
Yeah.
But there needs to be a bit more bravery here because you can play a bit further forward and make life hell for the enemy team, make it more difficult.
I think at this time specifically, as I said before, they're not a Ram player, so they said that they were like very scared of playing into Mauga versus Ram because they don't know what to do. But they played it fine enough besides getting aggressive more. But yeah, this is like something where like the tank was like really like scared of the Mauga because they just aren't a Ram player.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think just ultimately, you want to try and impart this general
Yeah, we just to
stylistic
like
change
push
into
up
your
more.
team.
I'm gonna talk to them about that.
I think it's for everyone. It's for your
Yeah,
RAM,
yeah.
it's for you, it's for your supports. It's really for everyone. Just understanding this concept that, like, you can fight stronger. Because you see here, like, you're just the victims of their engagement. You didn't try to fight them on their walk. Nobody tried to poke them on their crosses out here. Nobody tried to fight them when they were here in the choke. Like, this is the best spot for you to fight them, right here. Because if they come here and they get ram slowed and they get drilled and they get altered, they're just 5 players stacked up. You saw a Tracer coming up top and everyone's immediate response was like, let's back up a little. But it's like, no, forget that. Let's make it hard for their Tracer. And now here you lose the clash, but they got their perfect engagement. They got to walk up uncontested, didn't take any damage, full conditioned Malga opinion. So it's an expected outcome because there wasn't enough bravery. Now here on the retake, I would assume you'd like to take top. Like, you see the Malga on the ground.
Yeah.
As soon as you see the Malga on the ground, take top. Take top straight away. And it looks like you are doing that, so that's good. And free engagement onto top right now.
So just taking an off angle with their Kiri, which is a good one to do.
Yeah, that's good as well. Now you get like a nice double angle. The only thing I think worth considering is that, like, there's a balance here where, look, your Sojin, your Kiri took an off angle, and this is really good. But you saw their Malga on the point. Your rotation to high ground was a little bit slow because they had enough time for their Malga to come back to get up top and to pin into your team up here. So, like, there was a missed opportunity somewhere. If you're here and you can see their Malga in main, you should be able to get to top with your speed ring before he can get to top. Because you just want to rush up there. He shouldn't be able to match you at this choke, right? Like, he should be back here when you're already clearing that top. So you don't want to spend too much time mucking about on the rotation, because the advantage of this quick judgment is that you get there before their Malga does. But that didn't really happen in this instance. And then again, as soon as their Malga committed the pin, as soon as he commits the stomp, it's a cue to use something like the orbital ray. You're fighting for this space up here. They're using skills into you. You see a skill used, a shift key, like Malga's stomp, a shift. You see a shift used into you, use an ult back into them because they can't get away from your ult anymore. So start scrapping it out that way. But then for you specifically, like, your engagement was fine, and I wouldn't recommend walking around the side and flanking in this situation because, like what I was saying just before, like, you will lose time on that. This is something that you do with the luxury of time. You walk around to the side and you get your best engagement. But if you're trying to fight before their Malga gets here, don't flank. Just go fight fast. No concern about a front-to-back engagement if things are going that way. But it looks like you'd won anyway, so that works.
That really helps. Hey there. Hi.
All right, what comes next? Maybe nothing comes next? I think, again, you're...
There's one more fight, I'm pretty sure.
One more fight. I think, again, like, your starting position, just... I see you straight away, it's like you're leaning down here, right? A classic. If they have to touch really aggressively, what you can consider is like, look, they have the touch, it's 96%. They're probably not going to come and clear top right now. If they're going to do something like that,
Yeah.
that's when you can afford to come up to like this high ground. You know, between fights, you can drill up here or you can walk through here and you can try to do that forward, take a turn again, take an aggressive turn again, right? Where you're standing up here and you're drilling a Cassidy that's walking onto the point, or I think better yet, instead of doing that, is like you're coming even further forward and you're catching their furthest back player that's coming in on the recontest. You're making it really awkward for them because you're going to get like this free engagement on these far back players. Like you catch their bat while he's walking here, they can't help their bat because they have to walk forward and kill your players on point.
Yeah.
But also for the ult situation, like because you have the Ray and you're closing on 2 ults as well, like you almost have yours, your Ram almost has theirs. What you can also do is just try to play a little bit front to back and then just try to like meet grinder, win that way, you know? Wait until they have to touch the point, use the Ray, use the Ram ult and the Tectonic Shock as they come, and you will just win on ults. Like if you understand that your ult advantage, it's totally fine to play for that condition instead of playing for something, I suppose, a bit riskier. But it's always important to recognize that if you're at the end of a point like this, if you're up 96%, if you're closing on the 99 fight and the enemy team has this huge pressure to touch point or you're going to win the game, you can always look to fight off point and you're going to get more value fighting off point because they have to leave and touch point regardless. So either you're going to get a free 1v1 or you're going to get a free cap. They're going to turn around and come to kill you. You can live forever because you're Venture and you can dig under the ground and live. And for sure, one way or another, you win either through the objective or through getting a free kill. Here you've gone backline again. Like it feels like we need a written invitation to use the Ray at times. Like right now, like so much is happening in main where they have to be on the point, and it's like if they have to be on the point, let's just use Ray. Let's just use the Ray and walk into them and fight with it, right? Like they have no choice but to stand on point and tank it right now. Because if they kite away from your Ray and they kite off point, they are simply going to die. So here, like from an ult standpoint, it's like let's just use Ray. Like there's no reason to not use Ray right now. It's maybe you'll win the scrap. Yeah, you win the scrap like they C9, but ultimately like just big picture engagement with the ult plan. Understand that if the enemy team has to touch the point, if the point is unlocking and you're threatening to cap, if it's overtime, Ray on objective is money because then they have to walk onto the objective anyway. So you're going to get a free one. And if you see shift keys invested, you see their Malga pinning towards you, drop the Ray, drop the way. He can't get away. You know, as soon as his stomp ends, he hits the ground, drop the Ray. The Malga's just there. He's just there for the taking. Let's boot up this Pharah code real quick. I was slow as hell on that Venture code, so let's see how much I can get.
Yeah, no, it's I did prefer Venture getting a lot more time, especially since the Pharah one is a curb stomp kind of.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see how quickly you can get curb stomped.
Yeah. No, other way. We do it.
Let's see how quickly you can curb stomp.
Yeah.
You got quick feet, is my understanding. All right, let's see. Oh, let's see here. I see they have a very creative composition.
I don't know what's happening on that one. Now that I'm seeing it like this, what is that actually?
And your Ramatra player as well that you said was not terribly comfortable on Ramatra, but is a Diva player, is now on their comfort hero as well. So I'd imagine there's probably going to be some more, comfortable aggression there. And look, Queen Bee actually does play Brig, apparently. I was wondering, like, is the reason that they're not playing Brig into this stream comp because they don't play Brig? But no, they play Brig, so okay, next time.
Wait, no, they weren't. No, yeah, it was Rookie on Juno. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk with them about that then.
Yeah, easy. Because, like, a Brig swap, Kiri is, like, in these comps, Kiri is the greedy, I'm going to try and flank and carry the game pick. Brig is the safe, I'm going to play main and keep people alive pick. If there's lots and lots of dive, Brig is often the comfort choice. And Kiri is more, I want to try and carry and take more risk. But if people are dying heaps, swapping to Brig is usually the safe option. If people are just falling over. All right, so here, starting out, you get yourself an angle to poke high ground a little bit. You're peeking top, that's all good. You just want to wait until you just keep poking and then wait until your team wants to shift up top. That's happened.
Yeah.
And then here, like, you're preserving your shift quite a lot. Like maybe it'd be better off like when you're on the ground, when you want to go for like your initial engagement to like shift and shoot the ground and get yourself up in the air. So then you have like more fuel when you're actually up in the sky, just so that you don't want to like completely run out of fuel. But this is okay. Because you see here, like you still have your shift, I think. Oh no, you used your shift.
No,
but I think just like from a fuel management standpoint, if you have like a free engagement where they can't poke you out, it's always good to like shift and left click yourself up into the air at the start because you get like the
Yeah, I
ogre.
don't do that enough.
Yeah, you get like the
I know
ogre
it's a
fuel.
good tech, I just don't do it enough.
Yeah, and like even if you're not shifting to get up high, just shooting yourself up into the air at the start. Like if you're getting free healed at the beginning, it's all good. And now here, like you want to just keep pressing your advantage and try to get yourself like a nice wide angle to keep shooting. Your right click's gone, so you want to be like a little cautious that you're not going too wide, but you still have like double conk. You know, you can conk yourself. And then here, like these positions, I mean, you're already like so up in the fight that it doesn't really matter. But these positions are always like really powerful on Pharah, where it's like the enemy team is like down, stuck on the ground in main, and you're getting behind them on a high ground. Like you don't even need to fly. You just need to take the most aggressive angle possible. But here, I mean, it's a real like face roll. Like they're playing like Widow on the close choke, so that's okay. Here, just chase out the ram. Like right now, there's nobody that can actually kill you. Like these players are all stuffed inside. You should just be like getting really aggressive and trying to kill the ram, because if you kill the ram, then their recontest doesn't exist anymore. So just taking as much effort as possible to killing the ram, because like you were kind of like bopping between different tasks. Like, you know, you were marking the people here, and but you just chase the ram out. Like, and now again, I think your position is good. Like this is the double angle position, where it's like you want to poke people in the choke as much as you can, but then you want to make them swing onto you if they ever want to kill you. Like from here, you can shoot pretty much the whole objective, and if they want to force you out, they have to walk around corners and they have to take insane risks. They have to swing into your Juno and your Sojourn and even your Diva. So I think your position here is like very good.
Yeah.
Now they're on sim as well. Like they're just constantly picking heroes that feels like it makes it easy for you. To be honest, like this feels like a really like low pressure matchup for you. Like they have like BAP and Cass, which are like these characters apply some pressure to you, but at the same time, like their other DPS pick, their tank pick, like looks really easy for you to fly around into aggressive positions. Excuse me. Yeah, so I think you can take like lots and lots of aggressive angles here, because all you need to think about is line of sighting their BAP and their Cass. And even their BAP, like if the BAP isn't drilling you out of the sky, you can always look to be like super aggressive. Just line of sight their Cass and just have like really high output all the time. This is a good barrage as well, like just going forward aggressively, like you have 2 boops. So you can really afford to aggress as much as possible. I think this side of the map is probably better for you than the left, is the only thing I'll say. Like here, if their ram doesn't walk out and feed into your face, there's no real engagement pathway for you. Like you can't go any further from here. If you go towards the right side of the map, you can get some brig packs from main, and your Juno can help you in main a little bit, and you can kind of start working your way forward, like poking people off the high grounds here, poking people around here. You can line aside their hit scans using like this roof, and you can keep pushing cart, because all of the map between here and here, it's really easy for your comp to push the cart. Your Diva can sit on cart, or your brig can sit on cart, and just push the cart all the way through. And if their ram drops to the ground, your Diva can shift up to the high ground, and you can fight up on the high ground, and their ram just misses the fight. If you come here, you're on the same vertical plane as their ram. And it's worked out for you because he's walked into your face and eaten a barrage on the chin. But the better thing to do is try and play for the condition of your comp, the advantage of your comp. And the advantage of your comp is that you can use low ground and then jump up to high ground really free. And their ram simply cannot do that. The only player on your team that can't escape a Ramatra is your brig. So as long as your brig is cautious about being run down by the ram, you can really play to the advantage of the fact that they need to touch cart, and the only person in their comp that can touch the cart is their ram. So once he starts touching cart, you just push cart, push cart, push cart, not you specifically, but your team. And then as soon as he comes to touch the cart, you're all just up on high ground. You're all just fighting top 5v4, and your brig might be on the ground, but your brig can run away from the ram and give people packs, and it's still like a 5v4, and they have no tank. So here, like try and lean towards the open side a little more, just so that then you can actually like utilize the kit on your character, just so that you can hop between low ground and high ground. Here, like find yourself somewhere to rest, recharge your fuel a little bit. You're flying a lot. Like flying is overrated on this character, I'd say. Like you're constantly like flying and burning fuel and burning fuel. It's just it's good to get a good angle and then poke and poke and poke. It's like this is a real spam character. And then just fly to your next position and fly to escape pressure and fly to get a more aggressive angle. So now you've recharged on fuel. You're pushing cart. You found the BAP. Here, like just cautious, like when it comes to pushing this BAP out, like make sure that you're doing it in a manner where it's like you were safe down here. You know the BAP is up top. you want to push him, like you can double conk to your next safe position. You can conk him off the high ground onto the low ground. You can do a lot that isn't just sort of like straight line. When you're pushing him right here, you just flew from here to here, like super straight line, didn't use like double mobility to kind of cut down on his angle. You just took a lot of risk. Like you almost died going for it, and it just felt like that's because you spent too much time swinging him in the open, and that's rarely necessary. Now here, I mean, you're like 5v3 right now, so coming back and killing whatever's behind you is good. Ram's on the ground, and when you're in a position like this, really you can just keep working your way up through the high ground. You can take top right, you can keep trying to shoot the Ram on the side, you can keep trying to poke these backliners, keep pressing the advantage, keep pressing the advantage. Use your E, not for your own mobility, but to boot these players further in. Because right now you've created a 5v3, you boot these players forward, the game will be done. So here, you can use your right click to come forward, you can use your E to boot them in, and the game will just be done. And you've pretty much done that, to be honest. Like you didn't boot them in. Maybe that's the room for improvement. But you pressed the advantage. You kept hovering above them. And then 3-carding here is really good because there is just no ability for them to touch whatsoever.
Yeah, I did a call for the 3-on card.
That's good. That's good. Now here, your starting position, it's like maybe there's some room for like a bit more risk taking where you want to try and like play off to the side a little more. Like once you secured the cap, I suppose they all got close spawn, so it's a little bit difficult to take risk, and maybe you need to like play slow for the card touch. But you just want to have like a different angle where you can poke from. If you're in back of main and you're poking on Pharah, you do nothing. So maybe even in here and just poke.
The reason I didn't is because I saw on the right side the Cass and Sim walking out.
I see.
And so I felt like we can just go on to them and get the 2 free kills, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you see these players walking like completely spatially separated from your team can just like crash out onto them and secure the kills.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get the cap, like you want to have people walking forward and getting a good angle to keep poking and dealing damage as much as possible. So just be mindful of the fact that now everyone is backed up in back of main. You've sort of lost your position as much as you possibly could. Fortunately, their cast just wants things to be over, so he's just taking the piss. He's just licking your spawn door. But yeah, now as you're kind of pressing on with the advantage, this is where it's good to just like get off to the side, and like if there's anyone in here, you can poke them out by coming up here. If there's no one over here, then you can just start creeping in over on the side, and you can look for an angle here, and you can look to poke people up top. And you can just look to just keep poking and poking and poking, spam them on high ground, push cart. Their Ram's over on the left, so maybe you want to work your way over to the right, come over here, poke through here, poke through here. Third point is like, it's good and bad for Pharah. Like the angles are not fantastic for you spamming them here, and it's like actually quite easy for them to kill you here. Like everywhere you want to go to spam, you're a little bit of an easy target as well. Like you can get caught by ram slows on third, the chokes are tight, but that works both ways. Like when there are tight chokes, you can do a lot too. Like you can spam people super easily. And what you're doing here is all right. Like I think you've killed their Cassidy already, so like there's less pressure on you, and you're just getting relatively aggressively. Here I think it's more than anything, it's like a mechanical mistake, but I suppose the general thing is just that like you were very close to them the whole time. You found this Ram top left right away. Maybe you would have been better off leaning towards the other side, leaning towards just getting an angle where it's like you can see the cart and you can see their players up top, but maybe you took over here and you started poking from this side. Because if you start getting very face to face with them all, and it's not like second point where their Ram is main and you can just fly well over him and he can never catch you and he can never do anything. Here on third point where it's all really compact and like the low ground high ground difference is really small, you're better off just looking for like your best angle to poke cart and poke the people that are looking at cart. So here, a little bit too close to the sun. Next turn. I see there's a Ray in main, there's a Sim behind. When you're versus Sim, it's always like really good to preserve your E. Just if she goes for an aggressive TP, you can boop her off her TP super easily. Conking out of spawn is like it's a normal habit, right? Like everyone is gonna conk out of spawn, but you know it's a good idea to preserve your E when Sims are in the lobby because you can always mess up their Sim's aggressive turn with your conk. So here you sort of just like come into the fight. You didn't have any skills because you double conked out of spawn. Like you used your right click and your E to get out, and now like you're just getting kind of minced by a Sim at close range where if you saw this and you had your E up initially, you could just boop her off it right away. By the way, the trades are okay, but just a general matchup thing.
I had my conk up, and I was going to do it if they walked to the TP. I just kind of ended up saving it is the thing, because they didn't do it. So that's kind of what ended up happening to me, I think, there. Yeah,
and now here, what you're doing is right. Like, their Ram is top left, and like this is this is the part of Pharah that's really important, where there's like a stepwise component. Like you see someone off to the side, you want to clear this angle and take this angle for your team, and then go next and start touching point and go next again and again and again. You don't just want to like rush into situations over and over again. You don't want to be using your boosters to get into the fight over and over again, when a lot of the time you can just pre-position and set up and clear a side with poke and clear a side with poke and force their reaction and then force the fight to happen through the objective. So I think for sure that's like, this is positive, where initially you've gone and cleared the round, and then you even come around and get yourself a different angle to your tank, so then you get to give the round back shots, which is good as well. Not just being on the same angle. Here, right now, I assume you took the perk. Like habitually, you must press E before you press barrage. Like you have the perk right now.
I think
you would kill everyone
I
if you
just kinda
pressed E.
forgot.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, but it's a habit that you need to punish yourself for until you fix
I
it.
do usually do that. I do usually do the inverse with the barrage. I don't know why I didn't.
I mean, it's easy to forget, especially when like it's a new mechanic. You know, previously nobody would be doing that. You know, it's a perk specific.
Yeah, like
thing.
I do often forget to conk in front of myself whenever I have it, if I
Oh
want
yeah,
to
to
kind
like
of spawn.
like suck yourself in and stuff like that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
just here, like for sure, like if you pressed E
Yeah,
before
just
you press Q,
do it,
everyone
yeah.
is dead here. Like you were alive and everyone's dead. So like it really must make that a habit, because it's like so powerful, so incredibly potent.
Yeah, no, I it's strong. I know it's really strong.
Oh, there you go.
I almost did it. I almost did it. I looked down.
We're learning. All right. And now here again, cart is snowballing. Just make sure you have a good angle to poke them on their walk. You do have a good angle to poke them on their walk. Just be mindful of the hit scan as well. Like right here, you're exposed to their hit scan on the right. You sort of have two jobs: poke their walk, poke out their hit scan. What was
That
the
feels
first?
like too far for a cast to be effective, isn't it? Like I feel like
I mean,
that's
he-
like big cast fall off distance.
Yeah, he's a pretty healthy distance away. You can just cuck him out of the angle, but really, like what you're doing right here is sick, because like they have to touch point, and you have like 3 squishies hammed up, and you're getting you're scaled on Pharah. You're getting the big E sucks, and like this is like the hardest carry. I just more so meant like with the cast, you don't need to like sit there tunneling and poking away at him. You just need to be mindful that like if you're here out open on the bridge, like this is the angle where he can actually see you. So like creeping further forward, you might bring yourself a little bit closer to their tank, but then you line aside him completely. There's like fall off range
there,
here,
like,
but yeah.
You go. You finish it up because mine's
it's like-
kind of unrelated.
There's fall off range, but like he can still, he can start double dinking you, and then like you get tapped by one shot from main as well. You know, like there's still risk associated for you. What was the question?
Yeah. Okay. I always find it really inconsistent to do conking with the inverse and then shooting them when they're all conked, because like that's big value, big old charge. Is there like a better timing for it? Because I feel like this is like, I think I hit it this time, but I like don't hit it again very well.
I think it's just a function of practice, to be honest. It's just understanding, like it's dynamic. There's no like perfect 3-2-1 timing for it, because it all just
I guess
depends
'cause
on
of
like
range
the
as well.
yeah, it depends on like the range at which they're at and such. So really, it is just a matter of like, did you actually conk the people together, and then did the damage come? Because usually, like if you're just shoot conk, there's no like super fixed cadence for it, but you just need to practice it and get a feeling for it. It varies based on the range and whether or not you're going to hit the conk. I feel like the conk travels at a different pace to the rocket, right? Like conk travels significantly faster, so there's never going to be a fixed cadence for it.
I always end up having conk hit before, after my shot.
Yeah, well, you just
feel
want
like
to
conks
take
travel
multiple,
slower.
right? Because it's like you want to shoot and then conk and then shoot again. So then you get like a couple of rockets going in the same timing. But the cadence is never going to be fixed, because the range changes. Or the travel time is based on the range, and the travel times are different between the rockets and the conks. So there's no like way to make that super consistent beyond like just practice and having a good sense for the timing. Here you pushed over to the Cassidy. And honestly, like, it's okay that you've done this, but really, you're going to push a hit scan like this, you need your skills up. Like, you went for it, and now your skills are up right now. But if we go back, like, 2 seconds, we go back through 3 seconds, even look at this. Like, if you have your conk when you go for a push on someone like this, you can get the kill super easily, right?
And kill them.
Exactly. Like, if you're going to take the risky move of pushing onto a player like this, it is so important that you have your conk, because you're going to go and take a 1v1 duel. Your conk is incredibly powerful once you're scaled. He has almost no recourse. He just can't get away. But going for this push now, you'd probably be better off just continuing to spam main, continuing to duel someone like their Echo. But now you're pushing into like a little double angle where it's like the Echo is beaming you, and if the Echo doesn't fuck up, you're going to die. And you're also pushing into this Cassidy's line of sight at the same time. So you really need to be cautious about that. And maybe this works, right? Like maybe you get bailed out. No, it doesn't. doesn't work. But here, like if you did have your conk, if you were playing for that conk condition a little more, then all would be good. But maybe you're going to cap regardless. Maybe not, actually. Oh, maybe. No, I'm so on the fence. I can't decide. Apparently we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you come back into the fight. Did you conk out a spawn? Let me watch. Yeah, you did. Okay. You conk out a spawn, so you didn't have the conk for the fight here, but it's reasonable to conk out a spawn because you want to get back in the mix. Yeah, by the time you conk this up, the fight is over. So. Now, next turn, there's no barrage, there's lots of ult online. You're probably just going to win off the back of your ult advantage, to be honest. They're swapping to Zarya as well. They're trying to counter out your D.Va with Zarya, but Zarya is just going to struggle versus the Pharah, I think. So maybe you're just going to be fine. I feel like your ult advantage is so huge right now that it's just hard for them. Maybe... Or I was going to say, maybe you want to like look over towards the right-hand side, but this is a better angle for your hit scan. Like your hit scan can take the right and you can take the left. It's better for you to like hop up to the... Yeah, your position is pretty good too, I think. And here, like with the conk, like it's just a practice thing, to be honest. Like when their Pharah does this, if you get a little bit more practice on Pharah once you've scaled, like you're gonna hit these. You're gonna hit these one-shot moments.
Yeah, it's like a brand new update.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Exactly. Like you'll figure this out mechanically, but like here, what their Pharah did, that aggressive push, like it should be a kill for you, but you just need practice. You just need reps on it. And then here, like using the conk to get away, like try to be more conservative with your right-click conk once you're scaled, because really, like every E can be a kill. Once you're scaled on Pharah, I think it's the best scaling in the game. I think it's the best tier 2 perk in the entire game, to be honest. So like every E should be a kill at that point. Or not should be a kill, that is outrageous. But every E can be a kill at that point. So really try to be a little bit more conservative with your right click just in case. I can see my next client typing right now. Another 5 minutes, boss. So sorry. That's me typing out loud to next client. I'm gonna have to stop after the attack ends.
Yeah, I mean
we're a little over time.
We lose top point.
Yeah.
We lose first, but we hold second.
Okay.
So it's not the biggest steamroll ever, but it's pretty like still big. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get to the conclusion here. Now we've got rally up on high ground, full push with the ult turn. I think there hasn't been like a very good opportunity up until this point for you to get a big E on players, but you've sort of just been patient in the fight, and now there's like a big scrap, and the E is really good. Yeah, this is huge.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have barrage, but I suppose you could just barrage when you pull your E, to be honest. Like, there's just so many ults being used already that I can understand why you wouldn't. Like, I can understand that maybe you don't want to pull the barrage because you just use Ray and Clock and Rally, but at the end of the day, you look at this card position, you wipe their team here, the game is over. So it's totally fine for you to just E and barrage.
I think I was a couple of percent out for the barrage. I think I was at like 97 when I E'd.
Oh, I might be. Yeah, you may be right on that one. To be honest, I wasn't paying the closest. So yeah, I think overall not too bad. I think like most of the feedback for Pharah, like once you're scaled, it relates to the E. Like it very much relates to not being too wasteful with your conk because you want to get more value out of the E, and then making sure that like once you're scaled, you're always hitting the combo. Like if you're using the E, you have the barrage, or if you have your barrage rather, you're always using the E. You really don't want to be wasteful with it because you can just dominate the enemy team. You completely dominate the enemy team when your barrage turn comes online if you combo it with your E. Making sure that you're not pushing onto people aggressively when you're scaled if you don't have the E available because you can do so much with it. And then just generally before you're scaled, making sure that you're leaning towards the space where Pharah is best. You're leaning towards the space where you can abuse the fact that there is verticality. You can block their hit scan, you can dodge their tank. Stuff like the second point where you're not leaning towards, I know it worked for you. You went left top and it worked out. But if you go to the right side on the coast, you go towards the coast, you just have more space to abuse your hero's kit. You can be on the low ground, you can be on the high ground. Someone pushes you on the ground, you go top, they have lost the ability to fight you. Whereas if you go same vertical plane as the enemy tank, then it just becomes a little bit easier for them.
Yeah. I think that one I was just kind of looking to solo barrage them.
Yeah. I'll have to put a pin in
here.
That
was just kind of the play.
Because I have reached, I'll have to stop here because we've reached an hour and 13 minutes and Evil Kong 7 has